Alright, I'm going to go over the JavaScript files that go into building the site. So we made it pretty easy. Everything's kind of bunched together. I'm going to open up the index.html file and just show you, line by line what each one does. So we have our JavaScript files, and they're all entered up here. Now, a couple sliders, we have the JavaScript inline, but I made note of that. In the documentation. So starting off the top, there's this modernizer script, and all this does is bring older browsers like Internet Explorer 7 and 8 up to par, so it understands some of these HTML5 things that we're using like header and nav. The next thing is the big thing. It's used on pretty much any modern website nowadays. With JavaScript, it's jQuery, and it's just a big library that we use for, it's just kind of like a library of reusable code. So at the top we have Google APIs, jQuery, and this is actually going to help speed up your website by having it hosted by Google. And then under there we have a fallback, and that's if you're on a local machine or not online, you can't pull from Google APIs, so we have a local version as well, and that's hosted in our files that we've included with you. So it just shows that if you're not online, you can still view the website and whatnot. So the next two are plugins and scripts, and plugins is just basically all the heavy lifting plugins that we're using, like some of the slider code, etc. is put in there, and then our scripts is usually just any sort of basically calling to the plugins to make sure they load on the page. So let's go ahead and open those up real quick, and they're all in the JS folder. I'm going to go ahead and ignore, but I guess I'll open up plugins real quick. So the plugins has a table of contents at the top, and it basically tells you all the scripts that we're using on the site. You probably won't edit this unless you're going to minimize it, or for whatever reason, if you just don't want one specific plugin, you can pull it, but it's all labeled for you so you know what does what. The scripts.js you might be in, and this one is basically just giving you a whole bunch of options. So for instance, our lightbox has a bunch of options that you might want to adjust. If you're interested, there's a couple themes you can change. All of that's handled in the script.js file. Same with our drop-down menu. There's a couple options for that as well. If you really want to get your hands dirty, you can go there. But all this script.js is basically just saying, on page load specific things like our tabs or our opacity on our hover and etc. So that's basically the only JavaScript we're using, besides our slider JavaScript that's inline that I mentioned, for example, here. And this is the same thing that would be in the script.js file. You could put it in there if you wanted to, but it's just a little easy for when you're editing the theme. So this code refers to the slider above it. And yeah, so that's the JavaScript of the Primero site template.